There comes a moment when something inside you breaks. Not loudly, not in front of anyone. It's a quiet sound, like glass cracking somewhere deep in your chest. Maybe it happens after a betrayal, maybe after too many days of pretending. It doesn't really matter what caused it. What matters is that you feel something shift and suddenly nothing feels safe anymore. You sit in the same room, but it feels different. The air is heavier, the silence has weight. You look around and realize the world you built in your mind has started to fall apart. The faces that once comforted you now remind you of everything that's missing. The words you used to believe don't land anymore. It's like waking up from a dream that you tried too hard to stay asleep in. This is not weakness, it's awareness. This pain isn't here to destroy you, it's here to introduce you to yourself. Anger rises like smoke through your ribs. You try to swallow it, to calm it, to pretend it's not there, but it's alive. It's the truth you've been hiding under politeness, under "I'm fine", under "it doesn't bother me". It's all the words you never said, all the boundaries you never drew, all the times you smiled when you wanted to scream. Rage isn't madness, it's memory. It's your body remembering every time you betrayed yourself for the sake of peace. And peace, the kind you used to chase, was never real peace. It was silence in exchange for your truth. It was approval instead of honesty. It was survival disguised as calm. Now the mask cracks. The noise in your chest is too loud to hide. And in this chaos, a strange thing happens you start to see. You start to understand that your pain is not random. It's the echo of everything you gave away. You thought you were angry at them, but what you're really angry at is yourself for giving them so much power, for letting them shape how you saw yourself, for needing them to tell you you're enough. It's a harsh truth, but it's a freeing one, because the moment you see it, you're no longer blind. Pain has a way of clearing fog. It burns away the lies we built to feel safe. And when the fog is gone, what's left is raw, simple, and real. You, the part of you that can't be faked. The part that wants to live honestly, even if it means losing everything false. So don't rush to escape the breaking. Don't try to hide it with distractions or fake optimism. Let it burn, let it tear through the old skin. You are not being punished, you are being purified. This is the beginning, not of comfort, but of truth. And truth, though it hurts, will always set you free. Because the greatest pain doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to show you what's real. And now you're ready to see. Before the breaking, there was a version of you who lived softly. That version tried to keep everyone happy, tried to hold the peace, tried to be what others needed. You thought that if you were kind enough, quiet enough, patient enough, you'd be safe. You believed love was something you had to earn by shrinking yourself. You built your calm on the mood of others. If they smiled, you could breathe. If they were cold, you froze. You learned to read faces, the way a sailor reads weather, always trying to predict storms before they came. But you didn't notice that in doing so, you lost the rhythm of your own heartbeat. You became an echo instead of a voice. You said yes when you wanted to say no. You laughed when you wanted to cry. You told yourself it was strength being adaptable, being easy, being forgiving. But deep down, you knew it was fear. The fear of being unwanted. The fear of being alone. The fear that if you ever spoke your truth, they would leave. You thought you were peaceful, but it wasn't peace. It was submission. And that submission had a cost. Every time you silenced yourself to keep someone else comfortable, a small piece of you went missing. Every time you accepted disrespect and called it love, your soul dimmed a little more, until one day you couldn't recognize yourself anymore. You looked in the mirror, and there was no fire left, only a face trained to look calm while burning inside. You used to think the world was cruel for taking so much from you, but it wasn't the world. It was your own belief that you had to give everything to be loved. You were never weak, just misled. You thought love meant giving yourself away. You were wrong. Love that demands you to erase yourself is not love. It's dependency dressed as devotion. And dependency is a quiet prison. The walls aren't built from hatred, they're built from fear of being alone. You thought your heart was safe inside it, but safety built on fear is not safety at all. It's slow death. That's why the pain had to come. That's why life had to shake the walls. Because you were never meant to live chained to other people's approval. Rage, sadness, and confusion, these are not your enemies. They are the guards walking you out of your own prison. They're the proof that your soul is trying to breathe again. You see, your anger was never really about them. It was about you, about all the times you stayed quiet when you knew the truth. It's not a curse. It's your power finally knocking on the door you've kept locked. And when the door opens, you realize something simple and terrifying. You've never actually lived as yourself. You've lived as a collection of what others expected. That's why the loss hurt so much. That's why betrayal felt like death. Because when they left, they took with them the version of you that lived for them. But now, you're free to rebuild. You can start over, not by becoming colder, but by becoming whole. You can still care, but you no longer have to beg. You can still love, but you no longer have to lose yourself to do it. Because the one who depended too much is gone, and in her place, someone stronger begins to rise, someone who listens not to the noise of the world, but to the whisper of her own truth. There's always one moment that changes everything. You remember it. The conversation that cut too deep, the silence that felt too long, the message that never came. Maybe it wasn't loud, maybe it was just a look, a truth finally revealed, a door quietly closing. But something in you knew, the life you had before this moment is gone. You stand there, unable to move. Your mind wants to fight, to reason, to understand. But your body knows better. It knows what the mind refuses to accept. It's over. The truth you built your comfort on has collapsed. The person you trusted is gone. The image you had of yourself has cracked. And all that's left is raw, heavy stillness. You try to cry, but the tears don't come. You try to speak, but your voice shakes. You try to act like it doesn't hurt, but every cell in your body betrays you. This is not weakness. This is honesty. This is the body saying, enough pretending. And in that moment, that still, breathless space, you finally meet the part of yourself that doesn't know how to lie. Pain, real pain, doesn't shout. It whispers. It tells you everything you refused to see. It shows you where you gave too much. It reminds you of every boundary you broke for the sake of love, every instinct you silenced to avoid losing someone, every red flag you painted white because you didn't want to face the truth. You realize it was never just about them. It was about what you wanted them to mean. You didn't lose a person, you lost an illusion. And that's what hurts the most. Because illusions are comforting, they give you something to believe in, something to hold on to when the world feels uncertain. But illusions are fragile, and when reality shows up, they always shatter. So you stand there, surrounded by pieces, the life you imagined, the love you thought was real, the future you dreamed of, all of it scattered at your feet. And part of you wants to pick it up, to glue it back together, to make it look the same again. But deep down, you know, even if you could rebuild it, it would never hold. Because once truth enters, falsehood can't survive. So you stop trying. You sit in the ruin. You let the silence swallow you whole. It's dark, it's lonely, it's unbearable, but it's also real. And real is where the healing begins. You start to notice things you never saw before. The way you always said sorry, even when you did nothing wrong. The way you gave second chances to people who didn't even earn the first. The way you carried guilt for things that were never yours to carry. Every memory burns, but each flame clears a little more of the fog. You see how long you've lived in emotional debt, giving more than you had, waiting for love to repay you. That's why your heart feels so heavy. It's not just sadness, it's exhaustion. You've been carrying the weight of every unspoken word, every ignored instinct, every piece of yourself you gave away for the promise of being chosen. And now you're empty. But listen, that emptiness isn't the end. It's space. It's room for something new. Pain has burned away the false layers. And in the ashes, you find a strange kind of peace, not the fake calm you used to chase, but a silence that feels honest. You're still hurting, but you're awake. You're still wounded, but you're real. And for the first time, you don't need to run. This is the breaking point, but it's also the beginning of your becoming. Because this time, you're not looking for comfort, you're looking for truth. And truth will hurt, yes, but it will also set you free. You will not explode. You will not beg. You will not chase what's already gone. You will sit in the fire until it no longer burns. And one day soon, you'll realize it didn't destroy you. It refined you. There comes a day when the noise inside finally starts to fade. You wake up and the pain is still there, but it feels different. It doesn't pull you down anymore. It just sits there quietly, like an old friend who has nothing left to say. That's when you realize you've stopped fighting it. You've stopped trying to escape your own feelings. And in that stillness, something begins to rebuild. It starts small, a breath that feels easier, a thought that doesn't hurt as much, a moment where you no longer care who understands you. That's not numbness, that's power. That's you taking your energy back from the things that used to drain it. For so long, you tried to fix yourself by chasing peace outside of you. You thought you needed closure, apology, attention, something from someone else to feel complete again. But now you see it clearly. What you were looking for was never out there. It was always meant to come from within. Power doesn't shout. It doesn't beg to be seen. It simply stands still and knows what it is. And you're starting to stand still. You begin to understand that control isn't about holding everything together. It's about knowing what to let fall. You stop trying to manage how people see you. You stop needing to explain your pain to those who never try to listen. You stop defending your worth. You no longer react to every trigger, because not everything deserves your fire. The same silence that once felt like punishment now feels like protection. You stop fearing it, and you start living in it. It becomes your home. You learn to hold your anger without letting it hold you. You feel it rise like heat, but instead of running from it, you breathe through it. You study it. You let it show you what matters, and then you let it go. That's what mastery feels like, not the absence of emotion, but the ability to stay calm inside it. You don't have to repress what you feel, you just have to guide it, like fire in a lamp contained, steady, giving light instead of smoke. This is what people don't understand about strength. It's not about being unbreakable, it's about being clear. It's knowing where your energy belongs and where it doesn't. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop reopening wounds for those who never cared to see them. You stop chasing answers that won't bring peace. And for the first time, your silence feels powerful, not empty, not lonely, just yours. You start to enjoy your own company. You begin to rebuild from the inside, not out of pride, but out of peace. You learn to love small things again, the sound of your breath, the weight of sunlight, the quiet in your room. You don't wait for someone to make you feel seen. You see yourself. You don't wait for an apology to move on. You forgive yourself for staying too long. You don't wait for someone to tell you you're enough. You simply know it now. And with that knowing, everything changes. The world doesn't become easier, but you become steadier. People still disappoint you, but you no longer collapse when they do. Pain still visits, but it doesn't stay. You stop needing to win arguments. You stop needing to prove you're right. You stop needing to show anyone that you're okay. You are okay. Because you've built something unshakable inside you, a center that no one can touch. This is your rebirth. Not a dramatic one, a quiet one, the kind no one notices but you. It happens in the small moments when you choose not to reply, when you let something slide, when you walk away without bitterness. That's not weakness, that's evolution. You have learned the art of burning without smoke. And slowly, you become someone else, not colder, not harder, but calmer. Someone who doesn't need to be understood, because understanding yourself is finally enough. You've stopped trying to prove your worth. You've become it. There comes a peace that doesn't come from fixing everything. It comes from no longer needing to. You wake up one morning and realize the things that used to shake you no longer reach you. The noise of others, the silence of those who left, the opinions that once pierced your heart, they all sound distant now, like echoes in another life. That's not numbness, that's healing. That's what it means to be free. You no longer spend your nights replaying what happened. You no longer chase the why. You no longer build stories trying to make sense of people who showed you exactly who they are. You stop trying to control the wind, and you learn how to sail with it. You used to believe power meant strength, control, and dominance. Now you understand it's something quieter. It's the ability to choose peace when chaos invites you to fight. You have learned the rarest skill of all, the ability to stay calm when everything around you is screaming for a reaction. The anger that once filled you doesn't vanish. It simply changes shape. It becomes calm focus, sharp awareness, clear direction. You still feel the fire inside, but it no longer burns wildly. It moves with purpose. It lights your path instead of consuming it. That's the quiet rage, the kind that doesn't explode, but glows. The kind that doesn't need to shout because it already knows. People may think you've changed. They're right. You're not softer, you're sharper. You're not colder, you're clearer. You're not detached, you're finally whole. You've stopped expecting the world to understand your journey. You've stopped explaining why you needed to walk away. You owe no one a story. The peace you feel now is your proof. You've learned that silence is not weakness, it's strength held steady. You no longer argue to protect your pride. You walk away to protect your peace. There's a strange kind of beauty in this new quiet. It's not joy that dances, it's peace that stands still. You no longer crave the highs or fear the lows. You move through both with the same calm step. Because now you understand, life doesn't owe you fairness. People don't owe you loyalty, and the world won't bend itself to your comfort. But you owe yourself truth. You owe yourself discipline. You owe yourself the courage to stay steady no matter what shakes. That's where power lives, not in controlling others, but in mastering yourself. You've learned to love differently. You love without chains. You give without losing. You care without clinging. Because you finally know that love is not supposed to hurt and peace is not supposed to be negotiated. And so you move forward not as someone trying to prove they've healed, but as someone who no longer needs proof. You stop performing strength. You become strength. You no longer explode when things go wrong. You adjust. You no longer chase what leaves. You let it. You no longer hide from pain. You face it. You have turned fire into light. And as you walk through this new world, calmer but stronger, quieter but deeper, you finally understand this was never about anger. It was about awakening. You needed to break so you could see. You needed to lose to find what cannot be taken. The world still turns. The people still change. The storms still come. But none of it owns you now. Because you are no longer waiting for peace. You are peace. The quiet rage lives inside you, not as destruction, but as power. The steady kind, the clear kind, the kind that cannot be taken away. And when you look in the mirror now, you don't see the person who begged to be understood. You see the one who finally understands. You are not broken, you are reborn. You are not angry, you are aware. You are not empty, you are free. And the fire, the same one that once almost destroyed you, now burns calmly in your hands. It doesn't control you anymore. It answers to you. You don't explode anymore. You radiate, and the world can feel it. When the storm is gone, the world looks different. It's not brighter, it's clearer. The colors are the same, but your eyes have changed. You notice things you used to overlook: the sound of wind through trees, the way morning light touches your walls, the rhythm of your own breathing. These small things were always here. You just couldn't see them through the noise. You used to crave big answers. You wanted life to shout back at you, to explain why things fell apart, to tell you what it all meant. But now you understand, silence is the only answer that matters. Because silence doesn't explain, it reveals. It shows you that not everything needs a reason to be real. Some things just are. You learn to live inside that truth, the kind that doesn't promise comfort, but gives you peace anyway. You stop demanding certainty. You stop fighting change. You stop needing life to make sense every moment of the day. Now, you walk slower. You listen more. You speak less. You carry yourself differently, not with pride, but with presence. You've seen what survival costs, and you've learned what peace requires. There's a quiet strength in you now. The kind that doesn't ask to be noticed. The kind that doesn't fear being misunderstood. The kind that looks like calm on the surface, but is made of solid fire within. You start forgiving the world, not because it deserves it, but because you deserve rest. You start forgiving yourself for staying, for hoping, for believing, for breaking. You realize every choice, every mistake, every fall was leading you here to this steady ground beneath your feet. You no longer wait for someday. You live now. You wake up and decide that peace isn't a place you find. It's something you create, breath by breath, choice by choice. You've learned a secret most people never do. Life doesn't get easier. You just grow stronger. Pain doesn't disappear. You just stop fighting it. The fire doesn't go out. You just learn how to carry it without burning. And so you rise quietly, steadily, endlessly, not as someone who conquered the world, but as someone who conquered themselves. The quiet rage stays with you, but now it's not a wound, it's a weapon of light. It's a reminder that you survived your own storm and became the calm within it. You walk through life now like water through fire, unbothered, unafraid, unchanged at your core. And if someone asks you what happened, how you made it through, you won't tell them about the pain, you'll tell them about the silence that saved you. Because in that silence, you didn't lose yourself. You found the one who was waiting all along. And that is the real miracle